Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their dreams, struggles, and successes. How they were able to persevere despite the fear and create the life they want and deserve. If you're looking for inspiration to move you past where you normally would stop, then this is the show for you. Here's your host, Melissa Banks.
And welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm excited you to be with us today. I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Today, we have another amazing woman to share her journey with us and how she was able to keep going despite the circumstances. Today, we have Brenda Bergeron. Brenda is a destination wedding specialist, a wedding planner, travel expert, and self-care coach. Welcome, Brenda, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Melissa. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Brenda, when I was preparing for this interview and just reading some of your story, when I tell you your story screams loud and clear what it means to just keep going despite what you're going through, despite the circumstances that you're faced, I would like to start your story at the beginning. You were building your business. You had just finished nursing school. In fact, you went to a wedding conference to build your business. And while you were away, your son visited. And when you returned, being a nurse and a mother, you saw some things that didn't look good to you, and you wanted to get him checked out. Talk to us a little bit about how this impacted your journey, both your career as a nurse and your event professionals business.
Well, when I had just finished a school session for summer break, and interestingly enough, the day after I was supposed to, after school ended, I went down to Boca Raton, Florida for a wedding conference, specifically for destinations. And my son had come home. We hadn't seen him in a couple of years because he was in college, and he's about 17 hours from us. And he came home and while I was gone, and he was visiting with his dad. And when I got home, he came into the kitchen, and I noticed that he was different. And he had just coughed, and I said, "Hey, let's go get this checked out." You know, that mom piece of me, but then that nurse piece of me really kicked in. And we did, and skipping forward a little bit, we were on our way back to Ohio, where he lives, and we got the call that they didn't like what they saw. So we did some testing, and we found out that he had stage 4 into 5 cancer. I tried working remotely for my nursing. I had clients that were calling me for weddings and destinations, and I ultimately left my school nursing job to move out there to be with him. And my husband stayed in New Hampshire, and I was trying to do the nursing position remotely, but you can't be a school nurse and be not at school. So that I ended up leaving, and I had clients calling me, and I ended up referring them out to other people because I knew at that point, with all the uncertainty that was happening, that I couldn't give them 100%. And to me, I needed to give them 100% if I was going to work with them, because it's important for me to, to create their vision, their dream from what our conversations and our connections. And I knew I couldn't do that. So I ended up for about 2.5 years, with my son, who is now cancer-free, and we're so excited about that. He has yearly follow-ups, but from that, I came back home, and I began to look at school nursing positions, and I was hired.
Brenda, before you go into that part, I did want to pause you right here. First of all,
Sure.
You faced some horrible news with your son. No mother would ever want to face that news. Hallelujah, that he is through that and he's doing well. But at that moment, you had 2 successful careers, the career as a nurse and a career in the event industry. And you made the decision not to quit your business, not to quit your career, but to pause your business. And I believe your word to me was, I paused my business. And I really liked that, and I didn't want our audience to miss that part, that you didn't make quitting an option because you were facing some really big challenges. You said, let me just stop right here. Let me pause for a moment and get my priorities, take care of what I need to take care of as a mom, and then return to your career as a nurse, your career in business. So you had to bring all of that back to that. So that is huge for our audience to know that because we face some things, we don't have to throw up our hands and quit, but we deal with them, we change, we pivot, and that's what you were able to do. So I wanted to make sure we brought some attention to that. But then when you got back home and started rebuilding your life, then what?
Well, it was pre-COVID. It was actually about 6 months prior. Started another school nurse position close to home and started to advertise again, reach out, do some public relations, and get clients were coming to me and asking questions. And I love teaching, so that was, it was great to be able to reach out and answer and connect with clients. And we had some weddings in the books, and we had some destinations going, and then COVID hit. And I was furloughed from my nursing position, and then I had all of my clients canceled. They did not reschedule. They just did JP ceremonies at home because they had special days and special dates that they wanted. So they did it that way. All of the cruising got canceled, and so here we are. We hit COVID, and again, the nursing position is gone, and the clients are quiet, and everything's paused again. And it was like, well, what am I going to do now? Because as you mentioned earlier, quitting was not an option. It isn't an option because there's so much that's out there that's meant for me to do, and I know that's in God's plan. And, so that's where right now we're picking up. We've paused. We're looking at things differently. How do we make events happen? What do we do to make these events and celebrations come to fruition? So
okay, so when COVID-19 hit, Brenda, and you started looking at, okay, what do I do now? And I've been in that. I was in that same position. You know that. But when COVID-19 hit, the events were gone, the weddings were gone, the nursing career was gone. So that meant you had to pivot again in your business. So what ways did you pivot at that point, and how did you keep moving forward?
Well, it was very interesting because I always look at this, and sometimes when I say it, people look at me like, what do you mean? I found that COVID actually gave me a few gifts, and that was the gift of a mentorship with David Dutera and a mentorship with Joey Toth and Lee Richter. I never saw that coming, and it probably would not have happened if it was not for COVID. And I'm learning so much, so many different ways to reach out, but also I'm building connections with like-minded event planners like yourself, like David, and so many others on how to move forward, how to, do more virtual events, how to make those connections that way, how to do those celebrations so that people aren't missing out while following the protocols that we need to follow.
Okay, thank you for that. And I agree with you because so many things happened in 2020 and during COVID that weren't really great, but there were also some really great things that happened that I know in my heart for me would not have happened had it not been for the current environment. So I've seen you really grow. I wanted us to pause here right for a moment so that I can let our audience who joined us late know that they're listening to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. And we're talking to Brenda Bergeron, and she's a destination wedding specialist, a wedding planner, travel expert, and a self-care coach. Now, Brenda, you talk about self-care a lot, and I wanted to know how important to a female entrepreneur is that. What does that really mean, and how important is that?
You know, self-care is something that women traditionally tend to put off. We're so busy taking care of absolutely everybody else, our businesses, our jobs, and making sure that everybody else has what they need. And in this class that I teach, it's about bringing it back to us, bringing it back, and we actually have to, and research shows that we have to, as women, schedule our time for self-care. So that's why I've chosen Sunday night to do the class, because that's when moms put their children to bed. That's when the spouses are maybe already in bed, or they're watching a TV show that they don't get to watch during the week. And it gives us a time to really connect. And we go through how to schedule, how to bring ourselves back to center, find that grounding place. You know, we do a lot of guided meditation where by the end of the evening, we're relaxed. We're ready for the week to start. And, you know, we're coming on to our segments of doing various types of journaling and various types of forgiveness. And in that forgiveness, no matter who we have to forgive, in every person that we have to forgive, we have to learn to forgive ourselves for allowing that that issue or that time. We have to forgive ourselves for the way we might have reacted, being upset, being, you know, angry, being hurt, being sad. You know, so it's really a walk through taking care of ourselves in a emotional, physical, mental, spiritual way. And
I have to admit, Brenda, that self-care for me is one of my biggest challenges, because I'm that person that'll just go hard, and not take a lot of time out for myself. So one of the things that you do and that you talk about all the time is scheduling that time, because when you take care of yourself, you're actually a better businesswoman. You can move forward. You can work harder because your mind is clear and refocused. So I agree. That is important, and that is definitely a challenge for me, and I'm working on that because of you. So, Brenda, I read something that you wrote that said, you cannot be who you are if everyone is expecting who they think you should be. That is so powerful to me. And how important is that to be true to yourself while you're building your business and working on your dream? How important is that to you, to just be true to yourself?
It's very important. Through self-reflection and through actually our mentorship with Joey, we were doing the 7 layers and digging deeper as to why we do what we do. And I never realized my love for weddings and events, where it stemmed from. But when I was younger and I was graduating high school and I was going to go off to college, I wanted to actually go to school right then and there for events. But I was pushed by my family, made to feel guilty because I'd always taken care of my grandmother and I did a good job, and that's what I should do, and the world would be great if I was a nurse. And I kept getting that, so that's what I went to school for. And although I love school nursing, what I found out along the way was That's what I did all my life, was I did what other people wanted me to do, what other people thought I was going to be great at. And although I could do it, it wasn't where my heart was. And I wasn't being true to who I was. So that's why, my biggest piece of advice is to people is you've got to be true to who you are. You've got to follow your dreams and not somebody else's. Because if that dream that they're pushing onto you is so important to them, then that's something that they should be doing because it's so strong in their heart. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, so that is why and where and how come I do so many, I have so many things that I do, because I always thought I had to make everybody else happy. And then I would be happy because I made everyone happy. But that isn't the way it works. When you really look at taking care of yourself, you be true to your heart and what's inside.
Oh, absolutely. That's huge. That is huge right there, Brenda. Thank you for sharing that. What is it, Brenda, that makes your business unique? I know you do several different things, and the event industry is a broad industry. So what is something that's unique to your business?
What I can do for my clients, and being in a very remote area, it's really helpful, is I am also an officiant. I'm a minister, and I can create the ceremony. But not only creating the ceremony planning piece and performing the ceremony, I'm also a wedding planner, so I can help them through the planning process and getting their vendors. And then if they're going to go on a honeymoon, I can plan their honeymoon. And if they're going to do a destination wedding, then I can do the destination wedding and the honeymoon. So I can follow them through their entire journey. And I can be their contact person where they don't have to worry about, I've got to contact this person for this and this person for that. As David told me, he said, I can do it from start to finish, and what a beautiful journey. And it is, because I get to know my couples.
Yeah, I was just going to say that one of the things I hear you saying is that efficient piece allows you to get to know them on a different level than if you were the event planner only, so that you could tie all those pieces together, and that produces a unique service to your business that maybe other event planner or industry companies do not offer. So do you feel that you face any particular challenges with your business because you're a female business owner, and how are you able to deal with those challenges, if so?
I haven't run into much here. The only thing that I have found is, interestingly enough, is the bridal shows that are, it's very, very interesting because most of them are owned by men and in our area. And when we ask to present or to be a vendor at a show, usually we don't get much feedback, which is very interesting because you would think when you're doing a bridal show that you'd want, all your vendors that are, seen in the communities, to connect with your potential clients. And that's the only thing I've really found interesting, and I'm not sure why, because if I go to Vermont, it's usually the bridal shops shows that I've been doing have been with women, and they're very easy, and you go in and you do your setups, and you meet and greet your potential clients, and it's wonderful. So I'm not sure if there's any correlation there, but that's the only thing really that I've hit any issue with, I guess. And it's, very small.
That's awesome.
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay, Brenda, so 2021 is here. We still have COVID out there, but talk to us a little bit about what 2021 means for your business. What's next for you?
I am actually that I've been working on the self-care course. I'm going to be actually putting that out into a web course by probably mid-21. And I'm also in the process of looking, because one of my big dreams is to own a wedding retreat center and venue. And I'm looking at options for that and hoping to offer the feel of a barn, the feel of greenhouses, and an area where could get married if they wanted to by the water. So we're seeking out just the right piece of property, and we're looking to offer couple retreats and wedding options.
Oh, that sounds amazing. And I know that with your work ethic, with you showing us your journey, where you started, the different things that you had to go through, and you continue to push and you continue to grow. So congratulations to you on that. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. So do you have any final comments that you would like to make to our audience? And be sure to give us your contact information, how we can stay connected to you.
I would just like to thank you for having me today. And I want to share with everybody who's listening that always be true to who you are and what your dreams are. Because in your heart is where they live, and you're the one that can grow them and make them happen. And you can reach me. Do you want me to give you my webpage, or
just tell them how they can get connected with you?
Okay. And if you would like to talk with me, you can reach me at www.milovat.destinationweddings.com. And there you will find a button that you can schedule a time, and it's complimentary. I offer a 45-minute consultation. And even if it's just to chat and ask questions, that's fine too. We can talk and set something up to answer questions and get to know each other.
Thank you again, Brenda, for being our guest today. We were excited for this conversation. And thank you to our audience for tuning in to today's edition of Dream by Design. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, saying all your dreams are possible. Believe in yourself, work hard, and don't quit. Until next time, thank you for choosing Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Enjoy your day.